Welcome to the second episode of the On Your Wheel trailer build. In this episode, I'll bring you to the point you see in this photo, which will provide organization to all my needs while camping and dirt biking. I began by cutting some wood to mount to the wall to act as a support to the first shelf. This shelf has to support my weight since I'll be sitting on one side while changing clothes and getting into motorcycle gear. These pieces were 2x4s, which I ripped lengthwise down to about 2x2. Because of the trim at the bottom, I had to notch out one side for them to sit flush. Using the same cardboard template I used in the previous episode, I traced the outline onto 3/4 inch plywood. Here I'm clamping a circular saw guide I made to the plywood. This guide was made specifically for my saw, and it gives me the ability to make precise cuts using a basic circular saw. Measuring for a center support below this shelf, setting up for my cut on the table saw. Here I bring in my Dometic 970 series portable toilet. My plan is to mount this under the shelf on the floor on the left side and bring it out when needed. This toilet came with mounting brackets, which I decided to secure to a piece of 3/4 inch plywood so it would be easier to move in the future if I didn't like it. I used a Craig pocket hole jig to secure the center support. I also decided, because this bottom left area might be hard to access when the trailer is loaded, the toilet wouldn't be mounted in this location. I cut a piece of wood to keep any other items I put in this area from sliding out. I began securing this center support and realized things weren't square. The back of the shelf was about 1/4 inch off, which made the top shelf push off the rear supports. I used my circular saw and guide to trim this up. I began installing the top shelf in the same manner as the bottom shelf. Because this shelf isn't going to hold as much weight, I used 1/2 inch plywood. Using some pine boards, I began making a center support and divider. At this point, you may begin to realize I'm using quite a few different types of wood. This is because I'm using wood from my leftover pile. I have a lot of odd pieces from different projects over the years. I'm using 1/4 inch plywood to cover this center area. Here I am figuring out the new position of the toilet. This toilet can hold up to 5 gallons of human waste. Because it has handles at the front and rear, I decided to mount it sideways so it would be easier to pick up. Motorcycle boots at the bottom right, maybe helmets at the top. Here is a wall mount for my spare tire. I like this mount because the bolt has a shoulder which prevents the bolt from spinning during removal and installation. I bought a Pit Posse aerosol can shelf. I needed a place to put basic chemicals for the dirt bike like chain lube and cleaner. Here are some 4-foot vertical E-tracks. My plan is to secure camping chairs and maybe fuel jugs in this area. The 4-foot length means the center trim will interfere and will have to be trimmed. Check out the description for links to any of the products I used in this video. I secured the track using number 12 3/4 inch wood screws. Now I'm beginning another shelf, but only on the left side. I'm securing supports to the wall just like the other shelves. I'm using 1/2-inch plywood for this shelf also. Because the wall trim isn't level, I trimmed the support so I could keep the shelf level but also have it attached flat to the wall. I'm installing a pine board for a lip on the top shelf. The holes on this board is because I had used it on another project. The lip is a little too high for my liking, so I trimmed some off using the table saw. My plan is to enclose this shelf to store smaller items. I also want to bring in electrical outlets to this area so I can charge any electrical devices. I'm still not sure exactly where I'll be mounting the fuse panel. I'm possibly going to mount it just inside the right side of the top shelf. These cuts are made easy when using a table saw and sled. I bought some hinges and a latch at Home Depot to attach a door for this shelf. I'm first going to attach the hinges to the door, then to the frame. While this latch may be designed for windows, it seems to work well in this manner. Here I'm figuring out where I want to mount a shovel, rake, and splitting axe. I'm going to be mounting these items using 2 different sizes of quick fist rubber clamps. If you have a campfire while camping, it's important to have tools to have a proper fire pit, remove kindling from around the fire, and extinguish it when you're done. I wanted to mount these tools close to the side door. I figure these will be the first things I remove from the trailer when first getting to a campsite and setting up. One thing I didn't show the installation of was these folding lid support hinges which keep the door of the cabinet from overextending. The spring clamp I installed is to keep gloves, and the hook is to hang a hydration pack. And that's it for the second episode. Be sure to subscribe for further videos as I have a lot more to do. I still have to bring in electrical and mount a water tank.